What are you going through today? What are you dealing with today? And the biggest question that I have for you is, what have you been waiting on? And how long have you been waiting? I'm going to give you several examples from the Bible of people, good people, people who believed, people who have been promised a very special blessing, a healing, people who have been promised special things from God, who had to wait a very long time. Now today, as I make this video, I don't know what you're going through. And I don't know what God has put on your heart, what God has promised you. But maybe you have a dream in your heart and you're waiting for that dream to come true. Maybe you are doing all of the things that you know to do, and yet as each day passes, as each week passes, as each month passes, as each year passes, as each couple years pass, or maybe as a decade has passed, you are still dreaming the same dream. You still have a goal in your heart. You still pray about a specific thing. You still believe that God has promised you something special, something big. But yet, even though you pray about it, even though you do all that you know to do your part of the bargain, it still seems elusive. It still seems a million miles away. What is it that you are waiting on? Are you lonely? Are you waiting today for a new friend or a partner or a husband or wife, a spouse? Are you waiting on that? Are you waiting on healing of a broken heart? Somebody who is special to you, somebody who meant a lot to you, was unfaithful, and they broke promises, and they broke your heart. Are you waiting today for healing of a broken heart? Or maybe today you are waiting for healing in your body. Maybe you have some type of disease. Maybe you have cancer. Maybe you have some type of mental thing that you or a loved one is facing. And despite all of the doctor treatments, despite all of the precautions, eating healthy, taking your supplements, taking your medicine, getting the treatment, exercising, sleeping good, going to your church and having them pray over you, having people put oil over you, having your name on many prayer lists, praying to God desperately, night after night, believing day after day. Maybe you still have, or your child or your spouse or your parent still has the same physical ailment or the same mental, emotional issue that just doesn't go away. But there's something deep in your soul, and even today or tonight as you watch this video, there's still something in your soul that says, I believe God has promised to me a healing, restoration, a partner. Or maybe you are waiting for a job. Maybe you have a degree, you went to college, and you're putting out your applications, but you're not getting the job that you want to get. They are picking other people who might be less qualified than you over you. That's tough. That's difficult. And part of the job might be, you might be waiting for a financial breakthrough. You might be having a hard time making ends meet. There just doesn't seem to be enough money coming in. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many hours you work, you just can't seem to pay the debts to make it work. Or maybe you are praying for a loved one, a child, or a spouse, or a family member, or a friend, or somebody who is lost, who is going down the wrong road, who is traveling down a road of destruction. And you know it's not the right path. And you pray that they would come to the Lord, that they would come to salvation. You pray that today's a day of salvation. And maybe you have been praying for them to get right with God, to get put on the right track for a very, very long time. My heart goes out to you. So, no matter what you are going through today, no matter what you are waiting on, no matter how long you have been waiting, maybe, just maybe, today is the day. Maybe today is a day for you to get excited, for you to believe again in the power of God, that God is going to do something super special in your life, that your time of waiting wasn't in vain, and that your time of waiting is finished. Maybe, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to give you a few examples of people in the Bible who have waited a long time to get either healing or restoration, or to get the promise that God has promised them. But I'm sure at one point or at many points they began to wonder, God, did you forget me? God, did you miss something? It really seems that way. Instead of me getting closer to the goal, instead of me getting closer to receiving the promise, it just looks like it's getting farther away. Maybe that's you today. Then this video is specifically custom, tailor-made to you if that's how you feel. So I want to give you several examples in the Word of God about people who were promised something or had enough faith to receive it, but it was a long time in the making. The first example that I want to give you is Abraham and Sarah in the Bible. And I encourage you to go and read about all of these stories. You can read verbatim what happened and all the things that these people went through. But Abraham and Sarah were told by God that Abraham was going to have a son, and that was the promised son, that through that son, he was going to be the father of all the nations on the earth. God made big promises to Abraham. He said that your descendants, the Israelites, will outnumber the stars in the night sky, will outnumber the grains of sand along the seashore. And yet, Abraham and Sarah waited, and Sarah got older and older and older, and Abraham got older and older and older. And especially with women, you know that there is a cutoff with your years that you can have a child. After a while, not only is it questionable to have a healthy child, it's questionable that you'll even be able to have a child. And when you get so old, it's questionable that you'll even do the things that you need to do to have a child. So they were getting very old, and it looked like probably for a long time that it wasn't going to happen. And one day, Sarah enticed Abraham to sleep with Hagar to try to get the promise that way. But that didn't work out very good. It caused a lot of trouble. But it did happen. He did finally have his son, Isaac. But Abraham, through hardship and difficulty, he had to wait 25 years before he got the promise of a child that would be the promise to lead on his descendants. 25 years. And then Moses had a heart to deliver his people from bondage, from slavery. He had a heart to do that. And yet, through hardship and through being out in the wilderness and through all the things that he faced, it's believed that he had, it's believed that Moses had some type of speaking problem, a stuttering problem. And so you may feel like God's calling you to something, but that part that you need, maybe you need a certain style of speaking or a certain this or a certain that. And whatever the need is, it seems like it's in lack. It's specifically in lack. What do? You have to believe that God is going to provide that for you. Moses, he provided Aaron to be the spokesperson. And you can read the story, there was a bunch of plagues. There was a bunch of going up against Pharaoh, the greatest man in the world at the time, most powerful man in the world. But Moses did it. And it took 40 years. It took him 40 years before he led the people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. 40 years. And now let's go to David. A lot of you know about King David, probably. If you don't, you can read up about him. But he was picked from the Lord. He was anointed to be the king. He was anointed to be the king. And the crazy thing is, King Saul knew that and knew that David was building momentum, and he did not like that. And so he tried to kill him. He threw a spear at his head, and David went running for his life. He went hiding in caves for his life. And the crazy thing is, twice he had a chance to kill Saul. Saul was in the cave, David was with his men. And the one time David even hacked off a little piece of his gown, if you will, his cape. But that's the crazy thing is, David had a chance to kill him, and David said, "Far be it from me." He knew that the Lord promised him to be the king, so he waited. He waited. And maybe that's going on with you today. Maybe God promised you something, but people are angry and people are coming after you. They don't want you to receive the promise. They don't want you to receive the blessing. But in the midst of that, in the midst of you being able to retaliate, you choose not to. You choose to trust in God, even when it's tough. And you choose to do the right thing. And David, hiding out for his life, going to caves, someone who's fit to be a king, hiding out in caves. What a lowly thing. He did that for 15 years. It took 15 years before he was anointed, before God made good on the promise. 15 years. Now let's go to Joseph. Joseph had dreams. God gave him dreams of things that were going to happen in the future, prophetic dreams. And when he told his family about it, they were very upset and rebuked him. And his brothers, well, you know the story if you read it, he went into all kinds of trials. His brothers took him and threw him in a ditch. And then the one brother said, let's not do that. So they sold him into slavery. And he got accused of sexual assault. He got put in jail time in and time again. And he blessed one of the people, the guards. And he told them, remember me, tell the king that I'm in here, give me favor. And yet 2 more years went by. So he went, he was really in a bad way, and he was in a jail, not the kind of jails that we have today, but he was in a dungeon where it was awful. It was awful, and he was lied about and cheated about, and yet you wonder in all those nights where he would sleep and just, I don't know if he could even look up out at the night sky, but he must have wondered, God, didn't you promise me something bigger? Didn't you promise me something better? And yet here I am, I'm in jail, I've been lied about, they've tried to kill me, they lied about me, they assaulted me. Every time I get up, I get back down, I take 2 steps forward, I take 5 steps backwards. Do some of you feel like that today? Do you feel like that today? You know God promised you something, but it looks like everything that happens to you is just pushing you farther the other way. That's what happened to Joseph. And yet he persevered, and we don't know. There may have been many of days and nights where he really doubted and wondered, well, maybe God, maybe you just forgot about me. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe, do you ever feel that way? Let's be honest today. Let's not be all pious and religious. Let's be honest. Let's be real about things. Have you ever felt that way? God, I know you promised me this, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. Well, he had to wait. He had to wait 13 years before he went through all those hardships for 13 years before he got to sit on the throne and save the whole country from the great famine that spread through. And to read more about his story, you can do that. And then Zechariah waited over 30 years to announce a blessing over the worshipers. Maybe you are obeying God, you are worshiping God, you are reading your Bible, going to church, praying, giving money to the poor, helping people. And there is a blessing that's going to come over you. You do reap what you sow, but it might not happen for a while. 30 years went by before the full blessing came upon the worshipers that Zechariah had spoken about. So that's a long time. And now I want to go briefly to some people in the Bible who suffered, who had sickness and that type of stuff. I look at Job. You know about Job. He's very famous. And he suffered many, many things. He suffered loss of his kids died. He lost his home. His wife turned on him. He had a terrible, terrible disease. His friends accused him, and he felt like God rejected him. And yet, it was Satan that came and attacked him. But Job went through a lot, and we don't know if you research how long all that took place, all those hardships and struggles, until he was blessed double for his trouble. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes God blesses you double for your trouble. Double what the enemy took from you. And I'm praying that for you today. I'm praying for you today that God will give you, not just reimburse you, not just give you back what you lost, but that He gives you double what the enemy took from you. Double. And that's what happened to Job. He went through a lot and it lasted a while. And for him, it must have felt like an eternity of time. But he got the Lord's blessing. At the right time, in the right way, the Lord restored him everything he lost, even double. Another man was Noah. He built the ark, and at that time, there wasn't such a thing as rain. But God said there's going to be rain for 40 days and 40 nights. I'm going to flood the earth. I'm going to destroy all of the wicked people. But I'm going to save you and your family and take one male and female of each animal and bring them into the ark. We're going to save them. And, you know, the people made fun of Noah. They mocked Noah. And Noah and his team must have built that ark in the heat. It must have been hot. And it took a long, long, long time for that to happen. So maybe with you, maybe God told you something and it's a job project and you are working in the city. You are working to bring the good news into your city where there is crime and there is all kinds of bad things. There's a lot of people who are not saved. And there are people who are lying and cheating and killing and doing all sorts of wicked, vile things. Maybe it's in your city, maybe it's in your family. But maybe you went to work for God. You are working on these things. You are preaching to the people. You are being kind when they are being mean. You are keeping quiet when they mouth off at you. You are doing the right thing. You are taking the high road. And so you are working for God, and yet you don't see anything. You don't see the fruits of your labor. But just like Noah, and again, we don't know how long it took. Some say it took 50 to 75, up to maybe 100 years to build the ark. But the rain came, the promise came, and Noah was happy that he began day one building the ark. You will be happy if you don't give up. You are going to be happy. Your work is going to pay off for God. Keep doing it. It may take some time. Obviously, all of the examples I'm giving you took time, a lot of time, much longer than the people thought or wished or hoped. But it came to pass. And so, he built that ark. And what about, let's look, there was a man in the Bible, his name was Legion, and he was filled with many unclean spirits. And these spirits drove the man crazy. They drove the man in a way that today, the psychological field would say this man was insane. He had psychosis. This man cut his wrist with stones. This man was up all night howling and hollering and screaming out. This man was naked. This man was so powerful in a bad way. His evilness, the mental illness that he had was so strong that nothing helped. And maybe you feel that way today. Maybe you have depression or anxiety or panic attacks or PTSD or schizophrenia or bipolar or personality disorders or stress or autism or learning issues. Something, or OCD or ADHD, and maybe you have it so bad that you've tried many, many things and it doesn't get better. Maybe it gets worse. They put handcuffs on this man's wrists and shackles, cuffs on his ankles. But the scriptures tell us that he tore them apart. Nothing was strong enough to subdue this man. And yet Jesus Christ gives one command for the evil, the unclean spirits, for the mental illness caused by these unclean spirits to leave this man, and it did at once. And the people were so surprised, because the Bible tells us that this man was sitting there in his right mind, clothed, not hollering out, not cutting himself, but fully sane. One word. He tried many things. They tried many things. One word from the healer, one command from the healer, and the sickness, the evilness, the mental illness, it had to go. It had no choice but to go. And I'm praying that for you today, that maybe you've been dealing with some mental and emotional, neurological things for a long time. The Bible doesn't say how long this man dealt with this. It's true, it could have been a month, but honestly, I feel like it would have been a lot longer. I feel like it would have been probably a good while, but we don't know for sure. But I feel like it was a good while that this man was going through this. But even if it was a couple months, it would have felt like forever when these spirits, these bad, evil spirits are in you, creating mental illness. Creating mental illness. And so no matter what is causing your mental struggles today, Jesus knows the cause, and Jesus knows exactly what and exactly when the healing, the restoration will come about. So that man got his healing. It took some time. He didn't get it immediately, but he got his healing. He was freed by Jesus Christ. He was freed from that. And then a few more examples. You know maybe about the woman in the Bible who had an issue, a constant blood issue. She bled constantly for 12 long years. And you could imagine, and the Bible tells us that this woman, she sought the doctors. She sought the doctors. She spent all of her money on the doctors. And the scriptures tell us that instead of getting better, she only got worse. So not only did she get worse, but she spent all of her money on doctors. And I know some people, some of you may have went to doctor, used your insurance, maybe you paid out of the pocket. And with each doctor that you see that you don't get better or you get worse because some things are invasive, you start to lose hope, you lose more hope. But this lady said, she thought to herself, if I can just touch the tip of Jesus's gown, if I could just touch just the very tip of his cloak, I will get healed. And you know that. You know that no matter what medicine or whatever you've been doing, these diets, you know that just one touch from Jesus, just one touch. And how do we touch Jesus today? We do it through faith. Jesus said this faith the size of a mustard seed. You can say to this mountain, move, go into the sea, and it will. So today, how do you touch Jesus? He's not physically on the earth like he was in that day, but through your faith. Because that lady said, all I got to do is just touch, just nick the bottom of his hem, of his gown, and I shall be healed. And she was healed. But can you imagine after year 5, after year 6, after year 7, after year 8, after year 9 of spending her money, of going to doctors, but the blood kept flowing. Nothing helped. And maybe that's you today. You've tried everything. You did everything. And maybe you've been praying. But I encourage you today, use your faith and believe in Jesus for a miracle, because he hasn't changed. He said, it's my will to heal you, to the man that says, Lord, you can heal me if you want to. Jesus healed him. Jesus hasn't changed. Jesus is the great healer. Come to him today. put all of your weight upon Him today, all of your hope in Him today, for healing, for salvation, for restoration. And then at the pool of Bethesda, Jesus came across a man who was crippled. And some of you watching may be or may know someone who was crippled. This man was crippled for 38 years. 38. And when Jesus confronted him about it, he says, Lord, I don't have anyone to throw me into the pool when the water is stirred. He was counting on tradition. He was counting on legend. And many people today, they think in legend, they think in tradition. That doesn't bring about healing. What brings about healing is your faith in Jesus, that He can heal and that He will heal you no matter what you're going through, no matter how long, no matter how bad. He's still the healer to this very day. He's still the healer to this very day. Still the healer. And the man was making excuses. The man was 38 years. 38 years in that condition. And Jesus said in one moment, and the man, don't you think, over all those years, he probably thought to himself, I'm always going to be crippled. I'm always going to be crippled. I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be deceived. I'm going to believe that this power in the water, this power in tradition, this power in this and that. But Jesus delivered him from that. Jesus set him free from that. He did it. He did it that day. What took 38 years of the devil keeping this man down, Jesus says, get up, pick up your mat and walk. And at once the man got up, praising God. And the people that seen him were amazed. They were amazed. Jesus healed this man in 1 second. He did it. And so that's what I want to say to you today. Is no matter what you're going through, Jesus can heal you. And real quick, before I say anything else, Jesus had to wait too. Jesus himself had to wait too. He had to wait 30 years before he started his ministry. He probably was ready at year 18 or 19, but God made him wait 30 years. And Jesus was tested. After he got baptized, he went into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and was tempted in extreme ways that we'd never understand or comprehend by Satan, and yet he passed. So Jesus did too. Jesus went through things too. And so what I'm saying to you today is based off of all of these examples, and there are more examples in the Bible, and there are more examples in everyday life of people who have gone through things, physical sickness, mental issues, relationship issues, heartbreak, money, financial issues, job issues. The list goes on and on and on. And sometimes it lasts a while. But you can see, based off of these stories in the Bible and based off of what you hear from other people, that even though the hardship is difficult, even though the hardship is tough, there are long nights, there are painful days, and sometimes it goes on for a long time. I want to pray, and I believe with you today. I'm going to pray. I don't know God's will. I can't make you any promises. I can't. I'm just a human. But I'm going to pray for you, whoever you are watching me today. There's a reason you're watching this video. There's a specific reason you are watching this. You are meant to watch this. And I pray in Jesus' name that He first off gives you strength no matter what you're going through, that He encourages you no matter what you're going through, and that He gives your heart, He speaks to your heart and lets you know that your breakthrough that your healing, that your restoration, that the fulfillment of the promise just might be today. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give in. Because what if today's the day? Maybe today's the day that everything changes, that the dam breaks loose, that the healing, that the double portion, that the restoration, that the promise that has always been in the works comes true today. Comes true today. Because think about it, with all of these guys, in one point in moment, Abraham and Sarah had the son. Moses, at one point in moment, led the people through the sea to victory, to freedom. David, in one moment, was anointed king with the crown on his head and sat on the throne. Joseph, at one moment, sat on the throne and had second in command over the whole world, second to Pharaoh, and saved the people, because thousands and probably millions and millions of people would have died from the famine. But Joseph at the right time got in. And how about Zechariah, over 30 years, and the full blessing was given over the people who were faithful to God and worshiped God. And what about Job? What happens if Job gave up? What happens if Job gave in? What happens if Job walked away from God? What happens if Job, some people commit suicide? He would have never gotten the total bliss, the total restoration, the total healing. Even more than that, he got double that. And you might get that too. We don't know. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no heart has understood what God has in store for those who love Him. And then I think about Noah. What would have happened if Noah gave up and got lazy and would have just said, you know what, Lord, I'm in the hot sun. It has never rained. What is rain? You're just, and him and his family would have been wiped away with the flood. And what about the man Legion? He could have committed suicide. He could have gave up, but he didn't. And he received a healing, and he went back to his hometown. There were 10 towns in that area, Decapolis, and he preached the gospel. And think about how many people got saved through that message. And people knew this man. People said, wow, Jesus healed you. You were demonically possessed. You had all the mental illnesses you could think of. You were physically cut up from all the scars. Jesus healed you. This man is real. And what a testimony he was. But it wouldn't have happened if he gave up. It took one moment and it happened. And so the same with the woman who had the blood issue for 12 years. She didn't give up and she was healed. And she told all of her friends about it. And what a testimony that would have been. And then the man for 38 years who maybe wasn't looking for Jesus. He wasn't able to get up and look for Jesus. But I think his heart was looking for Jesus, and Jesus came to him. And in one moment, after 38 years, Jesus healed him and he could walk. So that's my thought to you today, is no matter what you're going through, no matter how long you've gone through it, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, 38 years is almost 4 decades. One day, to all of these people, God came through on His promise, on healing, on restoration, and on salvation. He came through. On one day, on one moment. So, what I want to say to you is, just maybe, we don't know. You could be in the beginning, middle, or end of your trial. I don't know. God knows. But what if today's the day? Maybe, just maybe, Today is the day. Hang tight, hold on to your faith, keep fighting, don't give up. I love you all. I'm believing for you all. I'm praying for you all, because today might be the day.